Alfie is a WOR race winner.
Jensen makes it 5 in a row.
Danny Bergenay wins on debut.
Shinaka returns to winning ways in WOR.
Season 12 sees a new man. It's Shadow. He is your Xbox champion.
And Jensen is the new king of PlayStation.
From the back row of the grid, against all odds, Nicholas Longy wins the title.
Goes past the safety car.
What has gone on here?
Bowman spins.
Stunning move from the Spaniard.
He's taken out Rambo. Here comes Longy.
We're going 4 wide down to turn 1.
Oh, he's taking him out.
The captain riders collide.
Sonic to the inside.
Shadow wins at Brazil. Absolutely sensational.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to WR Tier 1 Xbox. And we are at one of the most, a historic track after historic track this season, and that's Silverstone last week, and then Belgium this week. Spa is on the agenda, and I have got the proper Ryan Jacobs this week, unlike the fake one I had last week. They are out on track, just getting themselves ready for qualifying, but we are just going to have a quick chat about what happened. I know you weren't there, Ryan, but we definitely saw the outcome on the social media afterwards, and that is Matthew losing his win from the incident he had with Wilson.
Yeah, and that was a dramatic incident, to say the least. It was a costly error there from Matthew, but I feel like he just missed his braking point more than anything and had to try and avoid the incident with Wilson and making that contact. Such a costly error and missing out on a win, which would have been so important for him as well, in getting himself up in that championship positions as well. So yeah, and Wilson as well, he'll be frustrated with that one as well, getting spun round, losing out on a potential win as well. So yeah, making mistakes like that at this kind of level as well is very, very costly, and something you don't expect from a lot of these guys, but these things happen, and it's just really unfortunate when you're the guy on the receiving end of it.
Yeah, massively unfortunate for those two, and it did mean Axe does take victory in the end for the first time in WR this season. So a different winner for the first time this season as well. We did have obviously Elite or Otis start from the back of the grid, but he still managed to make it to 4th. That's a champion's drive in itself.
Yeah, exactly. To get into top 4 is unbelievable. The moves he had to make as well were not easy. I was watching some of the race back. He had to really get the elbows out and go for some daring moves, going onto the grass at some point. And that was really daring to do that one, and it showed some optimism as well. Bit of racecraft he was pulling out as well. Maybe he could have been a bit more patient in some places, but I'm sure him watching back, he'll learn from those mistakes he might have made and look to correct them coming here to Spa if he has to make some places up, because remember, we got 2 races here tonight, the sprint and the full one as well, so anything could go pear shape here tonight, and we could see a whole different grid for race 1 and race 2.
Yeah, we hope it's going to be incredible nonetheless. Let's get us over to the action, actually. That'll probably be the best thing about it for right now. And I'm going to go on board with Choco. I believe Choco actually was the first guy we went on board with last week as well. And, you know, Haas driver, not had the best of seasons. I'm looking at his point score, and it's DNF, DNF, DNF. Hopefully for him, for his sake, it's a better time around in Belgium.
Yeah, it's not a thing you like to have on your record, is DNF, DNF, DNF. That's not one you like at all, and he'll be looking to make amends here tonight. I know Choco, racing him in the past, he definitely does not take losing lightly, and he'll be looking to make up for it here at Spa. And I believe he had not too bad of a social race around here. I actually know he did. He had a terrible one. He did crash. I remember that one up at Rouge, I think it was, is where he crashed. So hopefully he doesn't recreate that. I think it was bad in both races. There's a bit of a crash here as well, but there's one man who'll be looking to recreate some parts of the social race. Will be FRA Matthew. He got pole here and he won the sprint race. So there's one man who would be very confident coming here to look to challenge Otis, especially. It certainly will be Matthew.
Obviously, the FRA teammates there, Matthew, incredible. I remember we watched that with close eyes. We thought he was going to run away with it in the feature race of it as well, but it just didn't work out for him at all. Something that's dogged him a little bit this season as a whole is just been a consistency, and that's no disrespect to Matthew, but that seems like he's struggling a little bit there at the moment.
Yeah, that's exactly it, in my opinion as well, because I feel like these drivers who are coming through, who are just onto the scene for the first time, racing in Tier 1, they're putting a lot of pressure on themselves. And with this added pressure comes mistakes. It's guaranteed with these guys. And that's what you're seeing as well. And that's probably what happened as well last week at Silverstone. He probably felt the pressure from the cars behind as well. And he forced that move on Wilson because he felt he might have been going backwards from there. So it's understandable with the pressure these guys are under for mistakes to happen, but at the same time, consistency is what you need to have to win races, and that's someone who has that under his belt at the minute is certainly Otis, who is driving under so much confidence. And there you go, a 42.169 at the start of short qualifying. That's an incredible lap to get us underway.
Otis absolutely, nearly unstoppable. Only starting at the back of the grid seems to be the way to stop his rise at the moment in the Xbox side of things. But M-Racer across the line only manages P3 momentarily, but agonisingly close to McCabe Sam's time. But there goes FRA Placky as well. Another FRA driver producing some strong results here in WR Tier 1. NVR Lucas, who gave an incredible battle early doors with Otis in Silverstone last week. Something, gave respect to Otis, but it didn't matter to him that he was the lead in the way in the championship here. He gave as good as he got, and I'm pretty sure it was nearly half a lap these two were side by side.
Yeah, that's something I love to see, is drivers not giving the better one, or supposedly the better driver, an easy way through. Again, making it tough for someone is certainly something that you need to do. You shouldn't be able to just let them pass by. Because remember, you're fighting for points here, you're fighting for a championship. You want to make it as difficult as you can for everybody around you. You want to finish as high as you can. You don't want to be the guy that comes last. And if you're letting somebody go through by you, that's not a winning mentality. That's just someone who's given up. And that's not the right attitude. And it's good to see drivers starting to make Otis's life a bit harder when he has to get through the field. And that's something I hope to see more of, is drivers getting that aggressive defense out, making it harder for someone, obviously keeping it fair at the same time, but it makes it more thrilling for us as well when we actually see a battle and not someone just breezing past. Making it difficult is something I feel like we should certainly start to see more as the season keeps progressing.
Let's see PSR Connor as he crosses the line. The Ferrari driver trying to make a little bit of amends for his season as well, but it's currently P4 for him. Another PSR driver on track is PSR Fern, who's actually invalidated. But let's go on board with LCR Leopard, one of the highlights of this season, I think is fair to say. He's been absolutely incredible so far. A little bit of bad luck, I think, at Silverstone, but he's had 2 podiums before that at Australia and Bahrain. So it'll be interesting to see how he handles it this time round, especially with Wilson ahead of him again in the championship with Smokey. I think only a further 2 points ahead of Wilson.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a bit of a fight between those three at the minute, and it's thrilling to see because Leopard is qualifying pace. That is where has really held him back this season, and it's a shame to see because we know he's got the pace to be at the front because you see him go through the field like it's nothing, and this is going to be a good banker there from Leopard, and that's a very, very promising lap time, 142, sorry, 0.350. So that's really going to put some pressure on Otis as well. But that's promising signs here from the German already that he's got some good pace here for both qualifying and race. And previous seasons, Leopard has had some very promising pace here in WR. So I'm expecting the same here tonight. Leopard really could be a contender for a very promising result.
Yeah, it's great to see Leopard up the top end in qualifying, as well as the race side of things as well. WR Smokey's thrown himself into P3 momentarily as well, just ahead of Leopard on the timing screen. But HSR, I mean, then coming through Sector 2, just starting Sector 3 now. And let's see how he can, we've not seen the best from... I feel like I'm going to say that an awful lot. We've not seen the best of a lot of these drivers this season. And I think it's more down to a little bit of bad luck for some of those.
Yeah, I think it is, and it's also, again, like I said, just being their first time in the top tier, they put so much more pressure on themselves because they know they're streaming to big audiences, and I feel like they feel a lot more pressure than what's necessary in a sense, and it really can be quite damaging as well because once you lose confidence as well, it's very hard to regain that, and confidence is everything in league racing, and it builds so much more momentum when you're in good form. And that's why you see Otis every week putting in brilliant lap times on his first run because he's got confidence. He knows he's going to hook up a good lap. And I think that's what the difference is between some of these drivers at the minute and the likes of Otis is the confidence side is just there and it's flowing. And you can see it. He can chuck a car in and he knows it will turn and stick. So once these guys really start to settle down and pick up a bit more of a rhythm across this game, I feel like we'll see even better results from a lot of these drivers.
Chandler Sater then puts himself P4 in the McLaren driver. Cracking stuff from him, first time back in a few weeks as well, I believe, for the McLaren driver. But yeah, going back onto what you say, the sheer confidence that Otis has is unmatched, I think, right now. I don't think there is a driver in Xbox that is flowing with confidence like him. It's great to see. I'm hoping some other people, maybe LCR Leopard, can continue to... Oh my goodness, what have we just witnessed there? There's a collision between Mercedes and Haas, sorry. That has caused a 5-second penalty to the championship leader.
Yeah, I was just on board with Otis on his in-lap there, and he was going left, and then he went right. Sav did not move one bit there, and he just went into the back of him. That was such a weird thing. I've never seen anything like that before. He's just driven into the back of him. That's going to be a 5-place grid penalty for Otis for this sprint race, by the way. So it's not end of the world stuff. He can certainly make some places through the field, but that was really surprising. And I saw another race he did. He crashed under the safety car here while in AI and had to replace his whole front wing. So deja vu a little bit there, and he won't be looking to make up that same mistake. But wow, that was certainly surprising to say the least, and he will not be happy with that one, and I don't think he'll be too happy with Sav.
Definitely not. And looking at it, just going back on LCR Leopard being in possibly the form of his Xbox life at the moment, and this is going to help him. If he can get away, this will be brilliant to see for the feature race. I would love to see the two of them alongside each other going into turn 1 for the feature race. But the sprint race is now wide open. Smokey's set himself up quite nicely as well, and FRA Matthew has set himself into P4 for the time being, but the Mercedes teammate of FRA Placky is up into P2. That is a solid lap time for the Mercedes driver, and just setting himself above LCR Leopard, as that's Wilson across the line throwing himself into P4 right now.
Yeah, and remember to throw ourselves back again to that pre-season race. Placky had very, very, very good qualifying pace here at Spa, but for some reason he couldn't materialise that into the race. He really fell backwards. So hopefully he's managed to correct the issues in the social and fix those issues now and be a bit more confident come to this race. But Smokey again building up that confidence, like I said, now going into P2 with a very promising lap time, just right behind Otis there. So it's quite an interesting grid so far inside the top 10, and it's quite close as well, just to get inside the top 10. 42.5, 550, the two Hasses identical there, so they'll be keen to improve as well to creep further inside that top 10. But yeah, so far, McCabe Sam as well, he's having one of his best qualifying performances as well in P6 for the Aston Martin. So he'll be looking to make some moves as well in this sprint race as well to make some more positions come for the actual race. And again, that's a question I always have for these drivers. How do they approach it? Will they be aggressive? I feel the guys at the back of the grid certainly will be, and the guys at the front will be looking to this to hold suit and not take any unnecessary risks.
Yeah, just looking at Scyther, as he has only managed P8 for his lap time, and I mean, it's not too far off of the top, but usually he's a little bit higher up in these areas. But right now, it's a little bit of a struggle on time-wise for the Williams driver, and I did go on board with PSR Connor, but he went straight into the pit lane, so that's not exactly ideal for him. Maybe he's just set himself loose somewhere. But with just under 5 minutes left of the qualifying session remaining before the sprint race, HSR Amin is just about to set his final, almost certain final lap time, and try and pick himself out of that 17th spot.
Yeah, seems to me he's ran out of fuel as well, so he'll be diving into the pits, or surely he will be, because there's definitely not enough time if he goes again. I'll be very, very surprised if he does line it up. Oh, he does as well. Is that on use potential softs as well? No, fresh soft, sorry. It's just invalidated on my screen, so it's already said he was on a lap, so that was a bit confusing on my end. But yeah, Anime really got to deliver here and get inside that top 10, really set the bar for everybody else, possibly here, as we've also got M Racer going out really, really early here in qualifying, which again is a bit surprising as the track is still getting quicker. So obviously being the last one out, you definitely have the best track. So 3 minutes to go, and some drivers already starting their final laps here.
Yeah, I think a few people, with it being a long track, everyone wants to go out at similar sort of time. And as I've just had a little bit of a connection issue with Amin as he's gone incredibly wide, but immediately dropped himself back onto the grid, onto the track at turn 7. So that's not too bad. Hopefully it is just a little bit of a connection issue and it'll sort itself out pretty quickly. But he's hurtling on down to Puon right now. This is one corner I could never perfect in F1, because I'd always go a little bit too far wide, and that could cost you massively. These drivers have got to be careful of that as well. The amount of corner cutting penalties these guys can pick up during the race is phenomenal. It's quite an easy one to go a little bit wide, a little bit deep, or a little bit just going a bit too far in on one corner, especially the Eau Rouge Radion and into the Kemmel Straight area there. But enough about that for now. Amin, as he's coming down into the old bus stop chicane, into turn 19, how can he round out this lap with 2 minutes left of the session remaining?
Yeah, it's not been too bad for him, Amin, at all, and it's gone up into P13. A few mistakes here and there, but he'll be quite happy with that one, I'd say. Getting into P13 puts himself quite nicely up on the grid there. M Racer as well, he's now on a flying lap as well, going up Eau Rouge there nicely. The Red Bull man would be very disappointed if he qualifies outside the top 10 here tonight. He'll be looking to definitely break inside the top 10 at least for this kind of driver, who we expected to be challenging for the title possibly in pre-season, but things just haven't gone his way this season, and bit of misfortune, bit of misunderstanding as well, and that's really cost him any chance of being in the championship hunt, and that's a massive mistake, getting on the throttle too early, and that's his qualifying run over.
Yeah, it looks like he's harvesting again. Maybe he's going to try a second run, but it's always very, very sketchy, I think, is the best way to describe that, to to do a second run here because it's such a long track, and you've already worn your tyres to away from their best. But I think it would be a little bit amiss of us not to go on board with Otis, the current championship leader, the fastest man on Xbox to be sure. Let's have a look and see what he can do.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely something we've got to keep a close eye on as this man's qualifying pace. As you'll just see how he just attacks the corners is breathtaking. Through there, absolutely flat, no problems at all for Otis. Opening the DRS, approaching speeds are up to probably 210, 211 miles per hour, going even quicker. So he's got a very quick car in a straight line, up to 214 miles per hour there. Braking really late, attacking those corners fantastically, cutting this inside curve, getting on the power, up into 6th. Minimise the wheel spin through there, down through this long right-hander, going a bit wide there, but cutting back nicely, getting on the power nice and early. Really nice line through there from Otis. Again, just skimming that curve, but getting on the power nice and early. So smooth from Otis, and you can just see the confidence glowing through this guy as he just can chuck the car in, and the car is planted on the power again, nice and early, tight line through here. Minimise the distance. Again, you ride that left-hand curve, then chuck it and ride that inside, and this inside on the left here as well. Nicely done, using all the track available to him again. Using a bit of that inside curve to help rotate the car. Bit of oversteer on the exit there. Up by nearly a 1/10.5 here for Otis. And this has been a mega qualifying lap here from Otis.
It's been great so far, but we have seen 2 drivers lose it. FRA Placky, one of them, and there was an AlphaTauri in the wall. Hopefully, for Matthew's sake, it wasn't him, because he needs a good qualifying here. Into turn 19, Otis goes. It's looking solid. It's nice and tight to the apexes. It's exactly how he wants it. Coming down the start and finish straight. And across the line for Otis, it's a 1:41.8. That is a mega lap.
That is impressive to say the least. You could just see through that middle sector. You're just chucking the car in on the power as early as possible. And that's a cracking lap. But Chandler here, out of nowhere, getting into the 1:41.9s there. So he really hooked it up at the end there. Quality lap there from the American. On board with Leopard now. He's up by a 10th and a bit here. Up to line, only enough for P5. But I think for Leopard, that's very good for him. And there's Cypher coming out of nowhere again at the end, as well as PSR South Legend as well, up into P4. So PSR will be quite happy with that one, with their drivers in 4th and 5th respectively. And M Racer as well, getting inside the top 10. He'll be quite happy with that one after his recent qualifying performance as well. That sums off rounds off qualifying, and that was very intense towards the end there.
That is incredible stuff from Otis. Chandler Sater then into P2, the McLaren driver, continuing his cracking qualifying performances. If we take a look back to Miami, he was equally good there as well. I think Axe is having some trouble with his power, so he might not be able to get back into the race. That would be really gutting for him. But Leopard being dropped to P6, he's probably not going to be too fussed about that. It's still quite a high qualifying performance, but the big one is FRA Matthew in P12, unable to get that final lap time in, and he's got to go through a fair whack of the grid. VSR Finn as well in P13 as well. That's a little bit of an unfortunate position for him, considering he was so quick at Silverstone as well. But we will just quickly go down the order. It is unsurprising, Otis in P1, but he has got a 5-second grid penalty to go to his name. Chandler Sater then P2, WR Smokey P3, PSR Sav qualities qualifying from him in P4, Cider P5, P6 going to Leopard, 7th going to M Racer, 8th to Placky, 9th to Choco and Wilson rounding out the top 10. And then outside of that, it's Sam, Matthew, Finn, Tudi, Amin, Connor, Lucas, Nico, Axe and PSR Fern to round out the positionings there. And Ryan, I've said an awful lot there in one go without not having much breath, but yeah, a little bit of a worry there for Matthew in P12.
Yeah, something I did not expect at all. And remember, Otis, also known as FRA Elite, he's got a 5-place grid penalty for this sprint race as well, so he'll be further down the order come for this one, and that'll be interesting to see how he'll be able to overtake everybody as well. His setup seems very nimble in a straight line, so I don't think he'll have too many issues with that one. But yeah, that qualifying was thrilling to say the least. A few disappointments from a lot of those drivers. PSR Connor as well, he won't be too happy with that one, but notoriously the pad is not as strong suited to this track compared to the wheel users, so yeah, Matthew again, he's got a lot of work to do here, and he'll be a bit frustrated, and he'll be one of those drivers who'll be going full pedal and trying to go for some aggressive overtakes, in my opinion here.
I think it's almost a must, especially in the sprint race, for him to grab as many positions as possible to get himself just settled a little bit more for the feature race. And it's not the Matthew that we knew from the social all those weeks ago, back in June, I think it was, maybe July. So plenty of things for him to work in there. And I'm trying to think, what's the best way to describe how this historic track is going to go? Otis obviously having a little bit of work to do for himself, not getting himself pole, but in the sprint race having to start 5 places behind.
Yeah, exactly, and that's not something he will be very happy with himself with, because it was such a weird mistake. I've never seen anything like it from a driver before. Maybe it's just a lapse of concentration, thinking that Sav was just going to go into the pits as well, or it was just a lack of concentration, which I'm really surprised about. But again, you need to stay fully switched on in league racing. You never know what to expect from some people, and Sav could have had wing damage as well from that one, the rear wing damage, and again, you'd probably say he was at fault for that, and that could have really cost his qualifying. But Sav in the end put in a really good lap of P5, so I think he'll be happy with that one, and he's now 1 place higher since the penalty as well. So yeah, it's interesting to see. Hopefully these drivers decide to ready up, and then we can get underway here. But yeah, it's interesting at least. No sign of any rain, thankfully, so that's always good when there's no rain here.
Yeah, definitely don't want too much rain. I'll give you a little bit of time to think about this one then. I'm going to ask, give you time to think about it, who you think's going to take victory in the sprint race of Spa-Francorchamps. But, let's talk about the track a little bit first as well. 20 corners in total, this place is absolutely... You'd think it would be a little bit more, but with its... What is its length? I think the length is, over 7 kilometres long? It's a huge, huge track, and it's obviously signed again for next season in real F1. It's great to have it on the calendar, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely one of the most exciting tracks because it's got so many overtaking opportunities and so many places for drivers to really just go for a move, and it's much better than the street circuits. We're certainly getting added to this new calendar. But finally now the drivers all decided, let's get racing. So I'll pass over to you for the start here.
Fantastic. I'll a quick one. Who's going to win? Quick.
Leopard, there we go. Bold prediction.
Leopard. 3, 4, 5 red lights for the sprint race of WOR Belgium, and we are off. Finally, maybe. It has gone. It looks like a pretty good start from Chandler Sieta. There's no penalty on Otis, so Otis is starting in this as P1. In the background, it's free wide into turn 1 there, and Leopard massively missed out and is dropping down the order. FRA Plaque, he's had a great start. He's up into P6 there. Let's get some positional changes up on here as well. And at the moment, it's Otis leading the way from Chandler for the battle for P1 as they come down the Kemmel Straight. And then LCR Leopard down 2 places, but VSR Finn is attacking him. He's already up 4 places as well, attacking the Alpine driver, but there's nothing to it. Again, there's contact in the background. I think that's Wilson being clipped by McCabe Sam and then hitting the back of Choco. That's not great at all as they come through Le Combs.
Yeah, just watch the move there. VSR Finn getting past Leopard. Leopard into the first corner, got tapped in the rear. Nothing he could have done. I believe there was contact from one of the guys behind. Not sure who it was exactly, but Choco also got tangled up in that one as well. He dropped down as well because of that, and that's a real shame for Leopard. Commentators curse, obviously picking him as a favourite to win this race from P6, but never mind for me. I'm obviously not good at predictions quite clearly, but yeah, it's an interesting start for the rest of the field. Cypher struggling to keep with the front runners. 9 tenths already is the gap. Maybe Otis setting the pace early. He is indeed using around 65% of that battery, trying to break away from Chandler Sieta nice and early.
Yeah, he's trying his best to get the slipstream broken and the DRS broken at early doors, but WR Smokey getting very, very close to the back end of the McLaren as they come through turns 19 and 20. Scyther got a lot of work to do. Leopard and Choco in the background fighting away, and I think Choco nearly got the move done, but at the moment it's nothing doing for those drivers, and Choco really trying to make the move stick. And in the background there's a Ferrari of PSR Connor up the inside of Tudi, and the Aston Martin driver is going to have to settle for losing that position.
Yeah, nicely done there from Connor. Really got the elbows out there and forced him onto the curb. Nicely done. And Tudi's not happy with that one. He's, ooh, bit of contact up a Rouge there. Tudi had much more speed compared to Connor. Nicely done, but unfortunately nothing Tudi could have done there. And there's a move at the front as well by the looks of things. Choco trying to make the move again on Leopard. Unfortunately nothing sticking for him this time around, but Leopard really is struggling. I'm not sure if it's a pace thing or just the drivers around him are all just deciding to go so aggressive, since there's only 8 laps around here in this sprint race. But there's one man who's already broke DRS, and that is Otis, who's now 1.3 seconds already in front of Chandler.
That is some incredible, impressive stuff. I'm not sure if it's getting on your screen, but there is a little bit of a lag moment every so often with a few of the cars. But incredible stuff from Otis. 1.2 seconds before the DRS has come about. And this sprint race definitely going to come alive for the battle for P2, I think. But everything else at the moment is neither here nor there.
Yeah, that's the shame, really, with the stream. Unfortunately, nothing we can really do. More of a Codemasters thing than anything with their connection issues. But yeah, I've had the same issue. I saw a few cars going a bit close to each other and then they separated. But yeah, at the minute, Otis just controlling the pace of this field. I don't think. I wonder how long Finn's tyres can really hold out for as well, because the softs do die really quickly here. But since it's only 8 laps, the softs might be favoured here, but he still needs to utilise them for as long as he can here and really go aggressive earlier on. And he's doing that at the minute up into P8 so far. I wonder if he can get past M Racer. That'd be a nice position for the actual race when it comes to it. But he's got to think, will his softs last long enough for the end of this race?
WR Smokey up the inside into Lecombe, and Chandler Sater does not able to hold a defensive line to him, and that means Smokey is up into P2 for the time being, and Sider back into an attacking range of the front, the guys in P2 and P3. It's PSR Sav that's struggling a little bit in P5 at the moment. Leopard keeping ahead of Choco, with Wilson trying to make a move on Choco through the corner with no name, turn 11, which has had a few updates to it for this game. So that's, I think, the only track update to this circuit. I think everything else is more cosmetic with the runoff areas through Eau Rouge and Radion. But PSR Sav has brought it back to Scyther right now, and it's a bit of a. It seems like Scyther's pretty strong through the first sector, but second sector he's pretty weak.
Yeah, maybe that's down to the setup, or maybe that's down to confidence as well, because the curbs through that second sector is really vital to gain time on people, and that's something I certainly struggled with in the last game on Xbox, was definitely the curbs being very sharp, and sometimes it was best just to avoid them because you did lose time from it, and that's what Cypher is trying to do, just to take no risks of spinning, which makes sense when you're only in the sprint mode at the minute, so taking risks is quite unnecessary. But Wilson again has got a very good exit off turn 1. He's using some of the battery, it seems to me. He's going on the attack now, as Finn as well is under pressure from Leopard, so we could see 2 moves from the Alpines. Here comes Wilson to the outside line, gonna go side by side. Choco coming across very late there and making it as hard as he can. Goes to the inside a bit more space to his VSR colleague. Wilson breaking later around the outside. Will he make the move stick? He certainly does. Choco though, going to the switchback maneuver possibly? No, just not able to hold it around the outside. Really surprising he didn't go for the cutback, but nicely done there from Wilson.
Very strong by Wilson there, coming into Kemmel Straight. It looked like he was not going to be able to get the move done at one point because of the straight line speed Choco had, but it's worked out in the end for him as they go through P1 now. LCR Leopard glued to the back end of VSR Finn. This is going to be very well close.
Yeah, certainly will be. I wonder how Finn will be able to manage his tyres. It seems to me that they've already fallen away as the gap is starting to widen now between him and M Racer. 8 tenths. VSR Nico getting the first penalty of this race alongside AXF1 down in P16. FRA Matthews struggled to make any moves forward here, by the way, which is really surprising. for a driver in the social that had such good pace there. Come to this one, he has absolutely none by the looks of things, down 3 places off the start, and it's just not gone his way here so far, which is a real shame for someone like him, who we expect so much more from. But on board with Finn now, he's now down to 1.1, so those softs really seem to me that they have fallen apart now, and Leopard will be certainly getting past him on this main straight.
Yeah, Matthew's down 3 places as well. I think he might have got caught up in an incident at the start of the race. It might have been his, or it might have been NVR Lucas's car that I saw spinning. But it is LCR Leopard trying to get onto the back end of this Alfa Romeo, sorry. It's all the way to the back. A little bit of a defensive move from VSL Finn. To the inside he goes. Leopard has to go around the outside, and he's holding it around the outside. A little bit of contact between the two of them, but Leopard has to concede in the end. That was very close, and he's still trying to get the inside, and his teammates trying to go around the outside of turn number 10 there, but somehow no overtakes has happened between these 3 drivers.
Yeah, that was unbelievable defending there from Finn. Maybe he was very aggressive. Thought he was going to leave a bit of space there for Leopard to the inside. Didn't need to. To be fair to him, that was brilliantly defended there from the Irishman, and that was really smart defending. Stuff like that we need to see more of. Really making it difficult and really putting up a hell of a fight here. He's got the straight line speed advantage with the ERS at the minute, and it's going to make his Leopard's life an absolute nightmare. 2 seconds is the gap as well. Remember, this is only for the sprint, so I can understand why he's been so aggressive as well, as there's really no points for these guys in P8, P9 and P10 respectively. So these guys putting up a fight is simply just for a very good qualifying for this next race coming up. But that was very an emphatic battle right there.
And it looks like it's going to continue into lap 7 for these 3, possibly 4 cars, as a Ferrari dropping back. That's PSR Connor having issues up the inside. LCR Leopard thinks better of it. Let's look at it from Wilson's point of view. The switch, look at the grip difference between Finn and LCR Leopard as they turn through turn 1. But this time, up Eau Rouge, into Radion and into the Kemmel straight they go. VSR Finn's straight line speed seems incredible, but this time around, Finn pushing Leopard to a little bit to the outside, but it's going to happen into the turn 7, and it looked like Wilson was trying to get the move on his teammate as well, but Leopard a little bit wily to it and able to keep the position for now.
Yeah, I just saw FRA Matthew go straight line in through the middle sector. That was really surprising. Just at the start of it, missing the whole corner. I think I might have maybe just missed his braking point completely and just decided straight on the corner. I didn't get a penalty for it, unless there was a bit of a connection problem, but I don't think it was on my screen that time around. But yeah, Leopard and Wilson going to probably work together now to pull away from VSR Finn, who's probably going to try his best now to hold up McCabe, Sat and YI Choco. But how long will it last is I'm not too sure. I think it'll only last to the main straight.
Yeah, VSR Finn's in a little bit of a world of pain at this moment in time. I think that soft strategy to go on, I don't think it was ideal for him, and it means he's going to plummet down the order a little bit, especially with the amount of drivers that are still around. Nico and Lucas battling away at the back. They are those 3 at the back are a world away, unfortunately, at the moment. Let's look at it from LCR Leopard's point of view. He has got his teammate for company right behind him for the time being. Let's see if these 2 will swap position when they come down the Kemmel straight, and yeah, let's see how this works out.
Yeah, it's going to be fascinating to see what these 2 do, because there's definitely going to be mind games between these guys. Because I don't think you want to be leading on this lap. You want to be leading on the last lap. And Wilson looking to me like he's going for it, which is very surprising. And I think Leopard did this tactically. He must have lifted, because that was certainly very slow in the straights compared to when VSR Finn was in front. And he did not use too much of the battery either when he used defending as aggressively. So I think that was tactical there from Leopard to let Wilson go. As you saw McCabe Sam breeze past VSR Finn down that main straight to get past. And now Choco is trying to go around the outside through No Name. That would have been brave if he was able to pull that one off. But yeah, great thinking and strategy there from Leopard.
Yeah, Leopard trying to it's a chess game for him right now, thinking a couple of stages ahead. I think that Axe having trouble in Sector 2 and dropping away now back into 17th place. Still 2 places up from where he started. VSR Finn is in a world of trouble with Choco and Matthew all over the back of him. I know he's probably thinking, oh no, that is around. That is around for Choco. He's lost it at turn 15, and that is big error from him. I don't think there was contact between him and Matthew, but Tudi gets past Matthew as well. That is, wow. What have we just witnessed?
I'm really surprised. Choco really decided to put a risk like that on the line, to be honest, and that's a rookie error. And P17, he's got a lot of work to do at Spa now for the actual race. 22 laps, remember, around here, and that's not going to be nice starting all the way from back there. Strategy is going to be key for him, as we've got a bit of a battle between McCabe, Sam, FRA, Matthew, Tudi, and PSR Connor here for P12. Tudi defends the inside, and there's nothing he could do as Matthew breezes past around the outside. And Connor to the inside line might get both of them. No, just only gets one. Tudi making contact on the rear wheel. Connor having to catch that brilliantly there from the Welshman. Hangs on to P13. That was a brilliant save indeed. And that was certainly not easy to catch on that on the pad there. But Wilson, by the way, managing to hold on to P8 surprisingly. Maybe pulled out just about enough of the gap before the DRS detection point.
Yeah, it was more looking like McCabe Sam making a move on Leopard than the other way around. I just got to keep on board with this, because what has gone on? That is that a Alfa Romeo? That is VSR Finn down to 13th place. Those softs have really gone off the boil, holding up Tudi right now. Tudi's trying to go around the outside, and it's not going to have anything to it on this occasion. VSR Finn, well, back where he started, he might have a fresher set of mediums for the race. And here comes a min on Tudi as well. That could save VSR Finn 13th place. But it's still a very risky strategy as Otis takes victory in the sprint race. Let's keep on board with this one as it goes down to the line. At the moment, no overtake from Min. And that's around. That's a puncture on VSR Finn. Surely it is. Back left puncher, and he's around, and he's down to 15th place.
What a mistake that is. He moved in the braking zone as well. I was thinking if Anthony was going for that move there, that was a slam dunk penalty as well, because it was so late and he moved in the braking zone. That was criminal from Finn there, and maybe that's a bit of instant karma for trying something so naughty. And you could tell by the tyres just on board of him now, they are absolutely finished on that car. But yeah, anyway, it's back to the front, and what a drive that was from Otis, who will hopefully now get the penalty applied for this race coming up, which will start in P6.
So let's go down the order. It is Otis taking victory from WR, Smokey, Chandler Sater in third, with Sider in fourth there. Fifth place going to PSR Sav, some dice points for him. M Racer in sixth, FRA Placky and WR Wilson rounding out the 2 point scoring positions. Then it's Leopard, McCabe Sam, FRA Matthew, PSR Connor, Amin, Tudi, Finn, Choco, Axe, Fern, Nico and Lucas to round out the rest of all that. Make sure I get this sorted correctly. Yeah, so shocks from that one, Ryan. I think there's a few to think of there.
Yeah, definitely Matthew in P11. We expected him to move forward a lot more than he did, but it was a good comeback in a sense because he was spun into turn one. So that's positives for him. Maybe a bit more safety coming into turn one this time around, as they obviously get a second chance now. They'll certainly be looking to be a bit more smarter. I feel like these drivers took way too many risks into turn one there, and it cost them. They were very silly, some of those guys, and unfortunately as well, Leopard got caught up in that, and he was right down the order, down to P9, recovered as well after that one. But hopefully a bit more sensible driving now for the big one for 22 laps here.
Yeah, 22 laps of Spa-Francorchamps, just moments away. We've had Otis, unsurprisingly, take victory in the sprint race. It should get knocked down a few places in the feature race. We're not sure why the penalty system didn't work for the sprint race. but that puncture for VSR Finn, I mean, how costly is that going to be? I think the reason why he went softs is so he could have an extra set of mediums for the race, but if he doesn't use that extra set, it's not ideal.
No, is it? I think it was smart. I wasn't surprised he went for the softs, considering his qualifying performance. He really had to throw something out there, and he really had to hope for a miracle. But as this game has gone on, I feel people have realised tyre degradation is so much worse that starting on the softs is certainly not long lasting, and it's not really worth it. And the mediums certainly are the best race tyre. That is certainly for sure. So yeah, it was a bit risky there from Finn, and unfortunately no reward at the end of it, which is disappointing for him as well. He'll be looking back in a bit of disappointment, a bit of frustration, I'd say, at the end of that one. But sometimes it's worth a risk, and he had a poor qualifying, and he nearly got a bit lucky, and he nearly started inside the top 10. Maybe if he managed his tyres a bit better at the start, you never know, he might have been able to hold on.
Yeah, it was very, very close. The guys are getting themselves ready. So a quick one from you. Who's going to take victory in the feature race?
I'll go, hopefully I curse it again. I'm going to go for Otis this time, and hopefully that means we get a different race winner.
Let's us go to the action. No formation race, formation lap, obviously. So we are on 3, 4, 5 red lights here at Belgium. Spa-Francorchamps is go for WR Tier 1, or I thought it was. It is now, and those light systems really need to get themselves sorted out. But it's a little bit of a cluster in the background. There's drivers going for it, as is Chandler Sater and Scyther battling away. There's a Ferrari going massively off in the background. M Racer up into P4. And up 4 places is Choco. He's had a great start as well.
There's a massive crash in the background. VSR and Finn, Axe and HSR Anime, and oh my god, they crashed in a straight line. I've never seen anything like that before. What on earth was going on there? Otis had an absolute flying start, by the way, but got caught in a sandwich off M Racer and VSR Sav Legend, and he was not allowed through. But he's got a great exit on Sav. Going to go down the inside, going to break later, force him out wide a little bit there. Sav going to try and hold it around the outside. Nothing he can do about that one. A cracking move there from Otis. But wow, what a surprising start that was from Finn. Not the start he would have hoped for. Definitely has some front wing damage, and he'll be not happy with that one.
No, it's all kicking off. Leopard down 3 places. Yellow flag further on, and that's Nico having more trouble. And PSR Fern getting past Jocko. There's a first penalty of the race as well. But Scyther going up against Smokey again. It's like old rivals collide for the battle for P2, but this time it's the battle for P1. But Otis is all over the back of the other Red Bull driver, M Racer, as they come down Blanchimont. And is Otis going to make the move around the outside? Surely not. He's sticking his car there, but there's just not enough road. Is he going to dive it in? He is. He's going to keep his car in there, and M Racer's given him the space. And that should be position done and dusted. WR Wilson getting a 3-second time penalty. What's going on with him? I think he'd gone too deep into the corner, but Otis up into P4.
Yeah, Wilson, remember in pre-season, he had an absolute nightmare at turn 1, and he's maybe got it again here, as he's just gone completely through that first corner. Having a battle there with FRA Placky, maybe got a bit too aggressive between the pair of them, and he's had to cut the corner. M Racer was defending very, very aggressively at the start, and I was so surprised there. He left the inside open. You're going to leave a driver of Otis's quality a gap that wide, he's going to take it away from you. That was easy pickings from him, and then he left the door open so much more that you could have fit another car where M Racer just decided to leave the door open even further. So it was very surprising why he defended so aggressively, but in the end let him through like there wasn't even a car there in the end. Very, very surprising decision there from M Racer.
Matthew dropping down the order. He was P11, he's now P16. So unsure what's happened to him. And McCabe Sam is down as well. I'm not sure what's happened to those 2 drivers. Let's go to the tyres. And I was going to bring this up. I was going to ask what you thought would be the better tyre to start on, because the hards are so hard to heat up. Are we going to see a lot of drivers using those hards? But it looks like we have. It's only really PSR Finn on the mediums.
Yeah, not surprising to be honest, from Fern to be on the mediums, and he had a poor qualifying end of the race, and there's Otis again breezing past Chandler up into P3 already. But yeah, not surprising from Fern. It's working very well at the minute for him, but he will have to do an early stop. Connor not really putting up a fight to his PSR colleague, as he knows he's on the better tyres at this moment in time. Connor might go for a little switchback, but I don't think he will in the end. But now is the crucial point of this race, in my opinion. Smokey and Cypher really got to work together to hold up the flying Otis, who is in behind as well. But like you said on the tyres, they definitely are the worst tyre to start on. But getting on the fast mediums at the end is certainly more rewarding, to say the least. And to answer your question, Dan, I believe what happened to McCabe Sam, there was an incident into turn 1 where 2 Aston Martins were off the track, and I believe they must have collided, or he collided with someone else, and he unfortunately dropped positions. There was a lot of carnage into that turn 1, and there is now a safety car deployed.
If that surely cannot be for FRA Matthew retiring in the pit lane. That is mental. And what has gone on here? It is a full course yellow. Well, it's not saying safety car on my screen, and I can't see a safety car on the track, so I'm guessing it might be a VSC that we're seeing right now. So slowing everyone down. It's slowing Otis's charge through the field, but that's a very, very odd decision. Why the game's done this.
Yeah, this is really, really bizarre. That's very, very surprising to say the least. Obviously the stewards think, Matthew's car's clearly in trouble when it's ghosted and whatnot, and I really thought, oh, that's a VSC drive-through. That's a shame for mine. That's probably a Delta glitch as well. He's probably got as well from the game, which doesn't make it any easier as well. But now Otis is on the charge, using all the battery. He's going to go for it already, I think, on Cypher, who's not checking his mirrors here. He's going to be careful now. Defend the inside, I would say, or park it in the middle. But nicely done. Didn't feel the pressure. Bit too far back this time on this occasion from Otis, but it's certainly unsettled Cypher, and he knows how to push his buttons here, does Otis, and he'll know how to get this move done, and he won't want to hang around for too much longer, as Leopard now gets past PSR Connor, who's on going backwards rather than forward. But these two now need to work together to close up the Fern.
Yeah, Leopard is sticking his way through. I was sticking on board with Otis because he's managed to put his car in perfect and wonderful places before. But let's see what happens down the Kemmel Straight. DRS open for all three of them. Is there going to be a move for any of these drivers? Otis is getting closer and closer and closer, but it's just not close enough. Wilson and Blackie swapping places as well. The Mercedes driver trying to switch back into it, but I don't think it's going to happen on this occasion. Let's have a look at Otis. He's looking up the inside of turn 10, but thinks better of it in the end. And that's Otis P3 for now. And, having to struggle with that 5-place grid penalty received for contact with PSR Sav, who's currently P6. In qualifying, he's making good job of it on lap 4.
Yeah, certainly is, and Sav is doing a nice job. Just chilling, I'd say, the Haas man at this moment in time. Just in no man's land, in particular, where he's just not in the race really for anything at the minute, because he's 7/10 to M Racer, and then he's 6/10 clear off Wilson behind. But Otis is certainly applying the pressure. Saw him again, wiggling his wheel. Trying to tell Cypher to let him go. But if I was Cypher, I wouldn't be feeling very, very confident in just holding him back. He's the third man in the train. Why let him go? It's going to be incredibly difficult. You've got the straight line speed as well on that car. But as well, I've noticed that as well, Otis has 3 miles per hour more on the straight line compared to Cypher. 216 was Otis's top speed compared to Cypher, who topped up at 213. So that's really, really key for this race. And you can see the exit now that Otis has got coming up Eau Rouge and Radion. He's certainly going to get the move done now. He's going to use the battery, but again, Cypher has certainly more than him. But again, it doesn't really matter because the straight line speed advantage surely should wrap up at this moment in time. 218 miles per hour this time for Otis. Again, more straight line speed than that Williams. Gonna get the cut back. That would be a fantastic move here from Otis. Gonna go for it again. Not this time. Doesn't have the grip. Surely not to the inside. Cypher parking the car beautifully there. Doesn't make the move stick this time. That's very well defended there from Cypher.
Cypher desperately frustrating Otis right now, and Otis must be thinking what he has to do to get past the Williams driver in front of him. WR Smokey's probably just happy that there is no well, there's no attacks on him just yet. He's just racing his own thing right now. Chandler Sater battling his way back into this. He was outside of the DRS range, so could this add a little bit extra spice to the battle for the lead? Could he attack Otis and try and get a position off the Mercedes driver? Could he be that audacious?
Yeah, you never know with Otis. I feel like he's got to be a bit more patient now. I feel like he's got to save some of the ERS up a little bit more, because he can't keep attacking like this when he's got no ERS really to play around with anymore. 20% he's down to now, and that's a massive mistake. Braking far too late there, locking up the rear. Going to lose some of that momentum he's been gaining on Cypher, because Cypher, again, controlling his pace very, very well. And this is not something that Otis has been used to this season, is drivers actually putting up a fight for themselves. Everybody's decided to let him go usually, because they know they can't keep up. But this time around, someone's decided to put up a fight, and now it's becoming much more of a challenge here for Otis, who cannot get through on Cypher. Maybe it's just down to the natural ability of Spa, being at long straights and being the third man in the train, but still, it's refreshing to see something like this.
Yeah, some more battling is always what we need, especially when it's holding the championship leader up. It's lap 6 of 22. Choco's retired in the pit lane. He's had an absolute nightmare of a feature race as the poor Haas driver, looking quite solid in the sprint race earlier on, but it's just not gone his way. I do wonder why FRA Matthew was retired as well. That would be an interesting one to hear. I'm guessing it's something to do with the incidents he has gotten himself into today, or this feature race, I should say. But Otis, again, getting close to the back end of that Williams again, and could be in for a move soon. It's his fastest area, Otis, definitely seems like Blanchimont.
Yeah, definitely is. Maybe that's just confidence more than anything as well. But yeah, on to the back of Cypher again he goes. 30% of the battery compared to Cypher's 70. So he's really got some work to do with this ERS management at this moment in time. I feel that would be a key area for him to address here at Spa for future races, but he's never usually in this position where he has to overtake anybody. He's usually the man on pole position who doesn't have to worry about this kind of thing. And now he's got to really try and force Cypher into kind of a mistake, which Cypher really hasn't done yet. He's been able to mount this pressure quite nicely. Maybe that was a sign of a mistake actually as soon as I say that. Going a bit deep into that corner, and Otis has got a very, very good run on him. And now this is his opportunity, because Cypher's around 7.5 tenths back from WR Smokey. So it's looking likely now for Otis to surely get the move done. Nearly a 10.5 behind, 14%, but again, nothing he can do. Cypher's just got enough straight line speed, and he's got the DRS to hold off Otis.
Now at this point, I think surely Otis should be thinking as that Nico around just before Blanchimont as well. I wonder if that could cause a little bit of an issue for some of these drivers as they come through. But yeah, I wonder if it's better for Otis just to go, you know what, right, it's either you want to play it this way, I'm going to save my ERS, I'm going to save my tyres a little bit and then overcut you.
Yeah, take a book out of Jarno Opmir's one, Bahrain. Just be patient. That's literally what he needs to do. Part of the Veloce team. I'm sure Jarno could give him some tips and tricks on how to do that a little bit more effectively, because he's got the pace to overcut these guys easily. If he just decides to save the RS now and then go on the attack and do an overcut, I guarantee you he'd probably get out in front of Cypher and possibly even Smokey. So this is what he needs to be a bit more patient here. There's Otis at this moment in time, but that's really about it, and that's his only flaw. Is being stuck behind a driver, is how to get through them, or being a bit more thinking of the long run rather than just thinking of the short-term gain. But he is applying that pressure now, and I think it's only a matter of time before he does get past Cypher. But again, he just doesn't have the ERS, and he's deciding to keep using it, which is only going to hamper his progress going forward.
Yeah, it's not ideal for him, and we saw this towards the end of last season when he first joined WOR. His ERS management was a little bit up in the air. Sometimes it wouldn't be... Well, he would use it all too quickly and not have anything to defend later on, but there is another yellow flag somewhere. But, again, Otis close to the back end of the Williams. Is there going to be anything to it? As they come down the Kemmel Straight, there is nothing he can do. They get very close to the back end of the Williams and that the Red Bull of WR Smokey, and that is that. And Otis is going to have to try somewhere a little bit different to make an overtake. We've already seen him make an overtake into turn 10. We've seen him make overtakes through Blanchimont. We know he can do it. He knows he can do it. It's just he hasn't been able to. Cyther's been defending brilliantly so far.
Yeah, and you got to give credit to Cypher as well for just putting up a fight compared to what a lot of these other drivers have done. They've just let him go. It's really, really impressive to say the least as well. And he's got the ERS advantage as well compared to Otis. I think Otis will be looking now, going, right, he's matching me here. It's time to save some of that battery. I'm only going to gain a little bit of time, but I'm not going to be able to drop these guys as well, because even if he gets past them, he's not going to be able to drop them, because they've just got so much more ERS than him as well, that they can use it to stick within the DRS. But here we go, Leopard and PSR Fern has spun around there, which is a common place to do it on the throttle, just on the exit there. Real shame for Fern. He was having a cracking race. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him going to the pits relatively soon. But again, Otis getting very close to the final chicane, always gets a semi-decent exit through there. But again, just falling backwards now. Maybe it's a time for him to decide just to save some more of that ERS.
Into the pits for PSR Fern then. I just had a little bit of a heart attack moment. I thought Cyther was going into the pits on lap 9 for these hards. It's a little bit early, but obviously the game having a little bit of fun with my brain. But Otis up the Eau Rouge into Radion, down the Kemmel Straight. I think he's taken a step back this time. He's still on 22% ERS, so I'm not sure what he's playing at. He's still using his ERS, but at the moment, Cyther and Smokey have the measure of the championship leader. A little bit further back, we've got obviously Leopard trying to get back in inroads onto FRA Placky, but has PSR Connor for company in P10 there as well. So big things still happening throughout the grid.
Yeah, exactly right. And this midfield is always very, very interesting to watch. Leopard really is trying his best to close up to the back of FRA Placky at this moment in time, but nothing going his way at this point. He'll be hoping he can get up to the back and get within the DRS range, or he's going to have to do an early pit stop and get the undercut. Because the undercut is, again, quite strong around Spa, I do believe, being on the fresh softs. Unless there is the DRS advantage, obviously, off the cars in front of you. But if you're Leopard, I think you've got to go for a nice undercut and get on some fresh mediums and take the pain at the end. But there's one man that you can hold on, is certainly Leopard. Remember, I believe it was Miami, or a track like Miami, or Australia. It was Australia, that was the one, where Leopard had to hold on those old medium tyres. Or was it old hard, one of the two, and he managed to hold on for P2 in the end, while everybody else behind him was on fresh softs, held off Smokey right towards the end there. So if there's one man that can certainly hold on with his tyres, it definitely would be Leopard. But yeah, again, finally, I think Otis has decided to save some of that ERS now, because he's up to around 40%.
Yeah, he's just trying to get himself back through and just get himself sorted right now. And at the moment, just being as you mentioned earlier on, being patient, a little bit more patient, and you know, maybe we'll see him attack the ways again very, very shortly. But you know, he needs to save that ERS a little bit more before he really starts an attack.
Yeah, exactly right. And Smokey and Cypher both on similar ERS as well, but he has caught up to Smokey with the ERS now, both on basically the same, with Smokey having a little bit of an advantage of around 4% more. So it's interesting to say the least how he's able to caught up. Chandler's doing a good job, by the way, in P4 respectively. M-Racer just holding on by a lifeline in P5, around 9/10 is the gap for the Red Bull man. Hopefully for him, he can close down that gap and really make it an even more exciting brawl between the top 5 here and Sav Legend as well, respectively in P6. Wilson, remember, got that penalty, which I wonder if the stewards will remove at the end of it. So it'll have to be investigated as well. Come towards the end, Leopard really is putting in some mega sector times now. Purple through the middle sector was the Alpine driver as he is trying to drop PSR Connor, but also crucially get within DRS, and FRA Flacky is not allowing the German whatsoever to get back within that DRS, using some of that battery, and Leopard is going to be so gutted about that one, just falling short by less than a tenth.
He's getting agonisingly close, is poor LCR Leopard. And actually, he might have managed it through the final corners. Amin picking up a 3-second time penalty as well. So Leopard is joining this battle effectively for the lead.
Yeah, and that is something to say the least. And it's going all the way down to P10 now for a battle for the lead here as well. So that's really exciting, something we don't see too often here in the top tier. Usually it's just Otis out in front, but now we've actually got a bit of a thrilling end to this race. So make sure everybody to like and subscribe to this one. But this has been a very thrilling race to this one. And it's nice to see the difference that Otis had really had to think a lot harder this time around, because we're used to him just cruising out in front. But at this moment in time, it's really been a tough fought-out race for Elite so far. He's had to make moves, and he made them early, but he hasn't been able to get past the brick wall, I'm going to call it now, of Cypher in P2.
Yeah, it's all looking relatively smooth for Smokey because of it. Cyther and Otis battling is lending Smokey the hand, I think we could call it, but his ERS is creeping up Otis slowly and surely. He's desperate now. I think it's getting to the stage of a little bit desperation to come through. These guys aren't giving well, Otis what he's used to, which is people letting him by. But look at this. He's going for it this time through Blanchimont, up the inside. A little bit of wheel banging between the two of them. Otis doesn't have the straight line speed, but he breaks later into the turn 19, and he's got the position by turn 20. The FRA driver back end steps out a little bit, but he's finally made the move. He's caught Cyther sleeping through Blanchimont, and that's where he wanted the position done. But Cyther's coming straight back at him through La Source.
Yeah, very well defended though from Otis. Knew the switchback was coming, but again, this is where the ERS advantage is to Cypher. Cypher giving in already. Really surprising. I thought he would have gone for it and really put the fight back to Elite there, because he would have got back into the DRS. Very surprising he's already given in so early once he's gotten through. But yeah, maybe this is all tactical here from Cypher, but now Smokey hasn't got any space, anybody to help him defend, because I think now we could see the Otis dominance start to really form now, because unfortunately my curse of calling him a brick wall, and he's just decided to smash it right down. That's a real shame for me. But anyways, the midfield at the minute, again, nothing really happening too much, apart from Placky actually falling backwards now, out of the DRS range, and same for LCR Leopard. Maybe a mistake, maybe a bit of a tangle between those two drivers, which we might have just missed as Otis made that move on Cypher.
Now, we will keep on board with this one for now. Cyther trying to get back at Otis, but it just doesn't seem like the pace is there for him any longer. He's got Chandler Sater behind him in P4, who's looking to pick up on any pieces that are going to happen. WR Wilson down to 12th place. He's made that pit stop finally, so he's happy now to go to the end. So is McCabe. Sam, so the undercuts maybe for those drivers there. That could be why Placky's dropped out, because Wilson was in front of Placky, and into the pits goes Cyther and Smokey and Sater and PSR. Pretty much everyone is going into the pits apart from M Racer and Otis.
That was a very late call from Cypher. Really had to steer the car in very aggressively to get that car into the pit lane, and he just about pulled it off. Nice stop there from the Williams, and he gets out quite smoothly in the end. But Smokey getting out quite in front of him there, around out of DRS possibly for him. The American gonna have to use some of that battery, and I wonder if Smokey will let him in. He doesn't, so these two are really gonna have to put up a fight between themselves. But it's smart to defend the undercut from Otis, but I feel like Otis is feeling very confident, and he's gonna possibly just pull off an overcut here.
Yeah, we'll go back on board with Otis very shortly. Cyther now 1.2 seconds behind Smokey. That's got Wilson for company just behind him. The Alpine driver is driving pretty impressively, even with the penalty to his name. And PSR Sav 1.6 seconds behind. But interestingly, Chandler Sater down to 9th place currently, miles away from where Cyther was. So there might have been an issue for him.
Possibly. Maybe it got held in the pits because remember there was a lot of cars going into that pit lane, and Sav also got held up in that one as well. 1.5, and he was ahead of Wilson, remember. So that's a big change for those guys as well. Cypher's got to use some more of that battery. He's being a bit too cautious, in my opinion, as Cypher at this moment in time, and needs to start to use a little bit more because that's certainly what Smokey is doing to make sure he gets out in front. Because if he loses DRS to these two, it's going to be game over for him and his hopes for a potential race win. So he really needs to get a move onto Cypher here. He needs to stop dillying about a little bit and get into that DRS, which is so crucial around Spa, as we've seen for so many of these drivers, like Leopard, who's fallen backwards and hasn't really been able to recover. But he's managed Leopard now to possibly get in the DRS of FRA Placky here.
Here comes WR Smokey around La Source. Where is the championship leader? He is there. Scyther's going to go size him up straight away, but it's not going to happen. Scyther obviously going to attack Otis as much as he can as they come down the Kemmel Straight. Is there going to be DRS for both of them? There is. The pace advantage on Scyther's looking pretty strong though. Defensive goes Otis. To the outside goes Scyther. Is he going to try and go around the outside of the Mercedes driver? There's a little bit of contact between the two of them, and that is, well, Scyther taking the position away from Otis.
Yeah, and we've got a big controversy out the front here. NVR Lucas is holding up WR Smokey. This is massive for the race, and here comes Otis around the outside. Are you kidding me? What a move this is going to be from Otis. They bang wheels. They're side by side still. There's just thrilling stuff between the pair of these guys. And what a move that is from Otis to pull it off the inside there. Fantastic move there from the Mercedes man.
And Scyther is desperate to try and get the position back. He picks up a 3-second time penalty for his troubles as well. But MVR Lucas finally being overtaken by WR Smokey. But is it too little too late with Otis Lawrence ploughing through the rest of the sectors in front of Scyther, and now through Blanchimont he goes. We know how quick he is here. He's made moves here many a time this race already. To the outside he goes, to the old bus stop chicane. Lucas is desperate to hold on to the position for the time being. Side by side, the switchback is on for Otis Lawrence and around the outside of turn 20. And that's the Mercedes driver up a position, and Scyther now trying to get past Lucas as well.
Yeah, and it's a great move, great decision that is from Cypher. None of this messing around, get this guy out of the way. That's certainly what I respect. The MVR lads in the chat thinking they're having a laugh. Well, it's certainly not going their way because Lucas is leaving the door wide open for these guys. Not great defending at all, trying to cause some problems for the front runners, and it's not gone their way at all. The game bug, which certainly wasn't a game bug, it was just a driver trying to be funny after having a poor qualifying and a very shocking race, and it's just not going his way at the minute. Down to P5, and he's still got a pit stop to go here. 14 laps on these old hards, and that is very smart from those guys to get it out of the way. Nice and early. Smokey is trying to hold on to this DRS advantage, but it's not going to be too long before Otis really does close down that gap of 1.2, and they've both got very similar on the ERS.
We know how quick Otis is going to be, and Racer getting past MVR Luke as well as now PSR Sav. The fastest man on the track at the moment is Chandler Sater in P8, so he's been held up, but it's still got massive pace about him. And now MVR Lucas, as Amin has retired in the pit lane, he's had enough for the night. It's lap 15 of 22. This is crazy stuff right now. And around up the inside of Blanchimont, well, and to the outside of Blanchimont goes PSR Sav on MVR Lucas, and Chandler Sater follows him as well and nearly gets clipped.
Yeah, nice move around the outside there. Very brave. Getting a bit darker in this clouds now. Maybe possibly could see some late rain, which could explain maybe why Lucas has decided to hold up. So yeah, not surprising if that's the case then, and he's got the full right to do it. But it just definitely doesn't leave a good impression on all the other drivers. Possibly when he's having a better race, they might return the favour one day. And that's something you don't want to do, is leave a mark on people's mind for the bad reasons and not for the good. Certainly because you leave a bad name for yourself, and that's when you certainly have drivers treating you differently. And here comes Chandler Sater down the outside of PSR Sav, who doesn't put up too much of a fight whatsoever. Nicely defended Unfortunately, not nicely defended. Nicely moved from him there. And there's F.A. Plackey, who's now spun as well. Commonly done on those curves. I think he was trying to get a move on PSR Connor, or he was trying to defend, one of the two, and he's gone right round the Dutchman.
That is not great for the Mercedes driver. It's not been his season at all. It's such a shame for him after a strong season last season and showing glimpses of it this season. It's just not been the FRA Plackey we know. Anyway, WR Wilson trying to attack Cyther. It seems like another battle we're used to is these two coming together. M Racer as well. Great to see him up in the swing of things as well.
Yeah, it's probably very refreshing for him to be so far up for a change, instead of being battling in the midfield unnecessarily. Just refreshing for him. And here goes Connor to the outside. Lucas not putting up any more of a fight now. I think he knows his tyres are completely finished and nothing really he can do about it, and he needs to pit for those fresh set of softs and just try and make it to the end from where he can. But Otis is applying the pressure now to Smokey, who's not making this easy whatsoever. But Cypher needs to use some of that battery. He hasn't got much to play around with, but he needs to use it because he's got more than the two in front of him, and he's going to lose the DRS, which is then going to just fall apart his race here. So he needs to be careful here, does Cypher, because one mistake and it's over for him here, for the American, and he's really got to be cautious of this, and that's why he had to defend a bit more aggressively on their second stint on these mediums than like he did on the front of his hards, to not let Otis through. So yeah, it's really surprising how this race has really unfolded for Cypher, getting that penalty as well, which probably will be removed from the stewards. Same probably for Wilson here. So it's interesting to say the least how this race is all going to unfold. But M Racer, if the stewards don't see it that way, he could be on for a podium here.
Yeah, M Racer is in a prime position to pick up some great, even better points than he is right now. 2D, 3-second time penalty. The problem that LCR Leopard had, he was in the battle for this, but MVR Lucas may have cost him even greater points. He's trying to catch back up with PSR Sav, but it's not going to be the way, especially with a penalty hanging over his name as well. Not something we're used to for LCR Leopard either. Otis Lawrence getting very close to WR Smokey, but nothing doing at the moment. It's still 0.4 of a second between the two of them as they come through Blanchemont now. Does Otis have anything in the tank to attack him into this, or does he wait and hold off a little bit longer and attack WR Smokey with a few laps remaining?
I think he'll go as soon as he can. I think he'll get him on the main straight, Upper Rouge and Radion. It's literally going to be an easy one for him, as Smokey has no ERS to defend with either, as VSR Nico does retire in the pit lane. And here we go, going to get a nice exit off here. Will Otis, and this should be an easy pass unless Smokey pulls off some illegal engine and is able to defend up this main straight. I don't think the Red Bull man is going to be able to hold off the flying Mercedes going up through Radion there. Nicely done. He weaves, he knows he's going to concede the position, and Otis knows that, doesn't even use any of the battery, although he does try to put up a fight here. Very interesting you would weave to put up a fight there. Very interesting defensive maneuver from Smokey, but Otis wasn't even phased one bit, and that was nicely done down the inside.
I think Smokey may have lost the back end a little bit. I'm not sure if it was a weave or if it was a little mistake from the Red Bull driver, but you can never really tell. When they're this good, it's very rare to get a mistake from these drivers. But Smokey, unfortunately, beaten by Otis Lawrence into Lecombs there, and yeah, he's now got the horrid task of trying to keep up with the Mercedes driver. Otis, for the first time this race, properly, I would say, leading the race.
Yeah, exactly. And it's going to be a nice cruise from him for here to the end. Remember, he didn't start on pole, so he never had the lead at any point. He's always been making his way. So this is the first time he is leading this race, and this is the first time he's going to be making some moves forward. And now he's in the lead. He's going to be cruising out in front here. Smokey is going to just be holding on to the very end of this race, to hold on for maybe just a lifeline to potentially steal away a win. But Otis has definitely got the ERS advantage of around 35% here. So it's going to be a tough one, but it's not impossible here for Smokey. If he can hold on for these last 2 laps, he might be able to pip him on the last lap.
Maybe. He is going to hope and pray that maybe even Otis, the great Otis, makes a mistake. You never know with F1, and there has been times when mistakes do creep into champions or expected champions racecraft. You never can tell. Look at it from Smokey's point of view. I think he's saving some ERS behind. The red light is definitely flashing. He's harvesting, and he's waiting a little bit longer to make a move on the Mercedes driver, or attempt to make a move on the Mercedes driver. He knows he's got the race pace about him, and he might very well try it on the last lap, like we saw in the sprint race, people trying to make moves on that last lap.
Yeah, exactly right. And it's the last lap is where usually the carnage unfolds. It's, you know, that's what we like to see, is where everything starts to get on another level. And I wonder if M-Racer will really start to do something now. He's got the pace, he's around, he got past Chandler as well, so nicely done from him, and he's just been in P5 ever since. So if he can get up close to the back of Wilson, I think he can apply that pressure and then really go on the attack from there and make a move stick. But at the same time, Wilson is around in a very comfortable position at this moment in time to really not feel the pressure of M-Racer. So maybe he needs to use some of that ERS now, close up to the back, and really apply that pressure a bit more.
Time will turn. Cypher's, I mean, he's hanging on to that DRS range of Smokey ahead, which I think is saving him from Wilson overtaking him, because I think Wilson's got the overall pace advantage over Cypher, but that extra DRS protection that he's got is good for him. But is that Leopard making a mistake? It is Leopard around on the final corner, and he's now out of the points.
Yeah, that's a big error there from LCR Leopard, something that you don't see very often from him, but now he's going to have to put up a hell of a fight with Placky for the final points position, and we know that Placky will not make this easy whatsoever for the German. So be an interesting fight between the pair of them. Smokey is holding his own at the minute, but Otis is really just saving the battery at the minute. He's got double his ERS, and he's in the lead as well. So he's got some very good straight line speed, and his car certainly seems to me to be way more suited in clean air rather than dirty. And that is where the time is certainly being gained. And you can see Smokey having to use it on the exit of corners, while Otis is really just chilling with it. He doesn't even have to use any, and that's where the pace is coming from, just being in that clean air. And Cypher really is trying to hold on for a miracle at this moment in time.
It's great to see, though, the top 7 all within a second of each other. It's this cracking stuff right now from the WR Tier 1 boys that are out there, or the guys that are out there battling away. M-Racer up to where we usually expect him to be. Chandler Sater holding off throughout the race, because I know in Miami he dropped off in that race, and it wasn't ideal, but his qualifying pace was there, but his race pace wasn't. It's just a shame the likes of poor old FRA Matthew and Leopard, even though he's still in the race, is struggling a little bit tonight with the point situation. He's going to drop away a little bit, but Cave Sam in P9, it's great to see him battling back up his way through, especially the 2 PSR guys as well in 7th and 8th there, PSR Sam and PSR Connor getting some decent points to their name. But it's about these top 2 at the moment, I think.
Yeah, exactly. These top 2 is where it's really at. This is where the fight is at. But again, I feel Otis is just playing with us at this moment in time. He's not pushing, and he's just toying with Smokey, and he knows he can go at any point and really just go for pull the trigger. I feel like he's saving his tyres as well. I don't think this is an Otis that we're really seeing giving it his all. I think he's just going to go for on this final lap and potentially try and steal the fastest lap as well as the race win, as we're on to lap 21 and 22 now, so not long to go around this long track of Spa. But yeah, at the moment, M-Racer is closing up to the back of WR Wilson. 5/10 is the gap as well, and Wilson as well closing up to the back of Cypher, who has now crucially lost the DRS to WR Smokey.
Yeah, this is interesting from Cypher. He's got a lot of work to do heading into this last lap. You know, a sector and a lap to go. FRA Placky picking up a 3-second time penalty, which is not going to help his his points praying position. LCR Leopard getting back into the swing of things as well. He dropped away from the DRS, but now he might have a chance into it as well. But yeah, let's see how it all pans down as it comes into the final lap. At the moment, WR Smokey's brought it back a little bit to Otis Lawrence. Maybe you're right. Maybe Otis is playing with them a little bit. More WR Smokey than anyone else right now. But maybe it is Smokey's got the extra pace.
Yeah, exactly, and it's on the final lap now, and this is where the story will be told. But again, Smokey doesn't have any ERS to defend with at this moment in time. So Smokey is really going to have to hope for a miracle at this point, and I don't think a miracle is going to be answered because Otis really has the ERS to pull away, and there's nothing Smokey can do about it. And it's been a dominant display here from Mr. Otis. From after getting past Cypher, you just knew it was a matter of when, not if, he got past WR Smokey, and now he's going to pull away and probably pull around 1.5 seconds to the time to get to the finish line. So yeah, at this moment in time, again, M Racer as well applying the pressure to Wilson, and he has got a bit more ERS as well to play around with, and that could be crucial coming onto the final bit of the straight.
Now this is, well, M Racer is looking very, very strong. It was at the end of Kemmel Straight where he got really back to the end of Wilson, like you were mentioning, and it's yeah, great to see M Racer really battling away. A yellow flag, and is that 2D or is that McCabe Sam? That's McCabe Sam around and oh, that has cost him absolutely everything. All the points, all his hard work is undone, and now his teammate gets past him as well, and he is really struggling. I wonder if that is him out of the race. It is. He's DNF'd. But I'm going to give this moment to Otis Lawrence. He's got himself through the field. Higher the time difference between him and WR Smokey than you even mentioned. It's going to be about 2 seconds by the end of it. Maybe 1.8 is as it's sticking at the moment. But what a drive from Otis Lawrence. He takes victory at Spa. WR Smokey will come home in second place and M Racer in third. Chandler Sater, fourth place. Cyther coming home in fifth with Wilson in sixth. PSR Savin seventh. Eighth going to PSR Connor. Blackie picking up ninth place as things stand, and LCR Leopard will pick up 10th place as things stand. And I think that's a mistake from Tudi as he goes through around the last corner. Oh, okay. Talk us highlights of that one. Highlights of that one for you.
Highlights. It was quite a few, to be fair, wasn't there? There's drama left, right, and centre. A few moves, especially in that sprint race. There's drama at the start. Drama at the start in the real one as well. Collision on lap 1 where few drivers were caught up again. Choco adding to the list of his DNFs this season, which certainly isn't a good thing to have. And I thought he would have made amend here tonight, but obviously not this time around. But yeah, again, it's very, very surprising to say the least. But yeah, it was thrilling from start to finish. Liked some of the moves there from some of these drivers here tonight. In particular, impressed with Cypher as well. Defending from Otis. It was very, very impressive to watch. And it was refreshing to see someone actually put up a fight to the Mercedes man.
Yeah, it's great to see it. And unfortunately, VSR Finn is the last guy to cross the line. He's going to show off a little bit after a really quite a cracking race at Silverstone last week. It's not gone his way this week. And I don't think he had the chance to use that extra set of mediums he saved from the sprint race. Tudi gets driver of the day from the game. How about yourself?
Driver of the day, I'd probably give it to Otis because we have to see something different from him here today. And it was really refreshing to see. He learns from his mistakes. He was learning that, right, it wasn't working using my ERS all the time to go for that move on Cypher. He decided to be patient. He decided to wait, use that ERS, save the ERS, and then he went for it, and then it stuck. And then he did it again, saved the ERS, went on the charge, and then did it. And that's what I thought was a really mature drive from Otis here. And it shows a driver that's still learning, and there's still more to get from this driver who's at the top of the game already. But you can see there's still more time for improvement, in particular from this kid who's really on the up right now. And Otis, yeah, for me, definitely my driver of the day for that kind of performance.
It was a cracking one, to say the least. Let's go through the order one last time. I've tried to, at least. It's Otis Lawrence on the win for the feature race here with WR Smoky and M Racer, the two Red Bull drivers, rounding out the podium respectively there. Chandler Sater in fourth, fifth place to Cyther, WR Wilson in sixth, seventh to PSR Sav, PSR Connor getting eighth, ninth going to Placky, and Leopard did get that, rounding out the point scoring position in the Alpine. Tudi, Fern, Axe, Lucas and Finn rounding out the the finishers of the race, with non-finishing going to McCabe Sam after crashing out right at the end. VSR Nico, Amin, Choco, and FRA Matthew to round it all out. I'm trying to. I think there was some drivers who didn't have the best of races for them, unfortunately, this week. But I think there was some action on show, which was great nonetheless.
Yeah, I'd say that as well. It was a bit stalemate at points, but the laps were getting better as the race progressed. And then after the pit stop phase, it kind of fell apart in the end, which was a real shame. But that's probably what you expect sometimes from these kind of guys. But yeah, to say the least, it wasn't a bad one, to say the least. But it was definitely one of the better races we had this season. And Leopard, he had one of his worst races this season, spinning into turn 1 on those mediums, and it went downhill from there for him. And I thought a track like that, after very promising sprint qualifying, it did not go his way at all. And that was something Leopard probably looked back on with a bit of disappointment. Yeah,
it's a shame for Leopard. It's not been the way he would have wanted at all. But we've had some great races through the Sider's defence of Otis early doors deserves a great shout out, because he was incredible. There was that one moment which he left the door open, and that's all Otis needs.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the difference between top drivers and good drivers. It's just the difference between good drivers and greats. That's what I like to say. And he just took his chance, and he took his chances time and time again. Remember as well on M Racer, he decided to hang it in that inside line when he was literally forced off the track to the outside, and then he sent it to the inside, and that was it, job done. And that was really impressive to see from Otis, and really surprising as well to see why he'd put up such a fight to such a driver to then lose out so easily in the final 2 corners. But yeah, Otis again, very impressive in terms of how he was making his moves.
Let's have we'll wait around to see if anyone will join us from the comms box side of things. But an unsung kind of driver out of all that. M Racer, quite quiet, didn't really see what happened, and then all of a sudden he's in the battle there, and he's got himself a podium. It's great to see someone who's had a difficult season to get a result like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice. It's refreshing to see as well when you see a driver who's just been out of form throughout the start of the season to finally get underway. It feels like this could be a kick start for him in particular, and he could be able to build momentum from here and really push forward for the rest of this season now. So hopefully M Racer can learn from this and just push on now, and hopefully we can see him get some more podiums and maybe even race wins with a bit of luck.
Yeah, let's hope that M Racer can get himself back into it, and like you say, get some race wins. It would be nice to see another driver up there. Obviously, we see WR Wilson quite up there often, Scyther as well, Chandler when he's getting himself when he's there, and when it's not Miami. Obviously, LCR Leopard, who just wasn't there today, but it would be great to have another driver in the mix as well. Matthew needs to find his form as well. It's really unfortunate what happened to him today, and it's just not something I don't think we're used to it, but we're experiencing it often at the moment.
Yeah, which is a shame to see. Sometimes the guys spinning, and we might get an interview. Otis Lawrence, the race winner, might want to join us. It's on Discord, Otis. If you go down and join one of the waiting rooms, I believe. I think Gareth can invite you from there.
It's the waiting for interview in the Discord, please, Otis.
Yes. So if you join that, we'll be able to drag you in, and you'll be able to join us for the first time. I think, will this be the first ever interview on a Monday night?
It could very well be. I think
Wow.
we had interviews last week. I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, here is the championship leader himself, and I'll hand over to Ryan for this bit, as he's just left us. Come on.
He's just there we go. Lucas, sorry, can you hear us? Oh no. He has to unmute his mic. Hopefully.
Yeah, he's muted his mic, and he's...
Ooh.
Okay. There we go.
There we go.
Oh,
He's unmuted. Otis, hello? Can you hear us? Oh. No. Can't hear the guy, unfortunately.
Gotta love a bit of technology as it's running through it. I don't know if it's... I think it's to do with Discord. I'm not sure if settings have been set up correctly by...
Oh, going wrong here. Maybe it's a Xbox thing. Maybe he's trying to join through Xbox or something. I'm not too sure. What's
might
going
be.
on there?
I'm not sure if that does it and works properly.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
No,
would have been nice to have his views on this one.
He's back again. Third
Right.
time a charm. Hello?
Hello.
Yeah.
Hey, there we go. We've got him finally for the interview. Yeah, Otis. That was a tricky one out there today. It was much more of a challenge for you, shall we say, compared to other races. The 5-second grid penalty as well, bit unexpected, to say the least. But you had to fight your way through the field. And how was that, starting from P6 instead of on pole?
Definitely very hard. One of the hardest races again of on this game. A bit unfortunate with the 5-second penalty because I was trying to overtake Sav under the formation. Oh, sorry, not the formation, outlap into the final corner, and I don't know if it was a brake check or not, but pretty much powered straight into him. So, it was definitely a very hard race for me.
Yeah, and just take us through that battle with Cypher as well, because we were just commentating over it and we were watching you and we were seeing you using the battery, but then at one point you decided, right, I feel like I'm going to save the battery now. And was that just a change in just knowing that you weren't going to get past Cypher with your current ERS situation, or did you just think of the long run in the end, which made you change your mind?
It's mainly for when they pit, I would push for the ERS, so I try and get the overcut on Smuggy and Skiver, so just save it a bit. So and Caesar was just telling me, you got just don't burn. There's no point. You won't get past. It's very hard because everyone's running such low wings around Spa, and the only overtaking down is the one just straight after Rouge and Radion. So I just had to save it for the when they both pit, so I can push in the in lap.
Yeah, I'll let you, Gareth, have a question. I'm sure he's got one for you as well.
It's another race victory here for you, Otis, and people seeming to be a little bit. I don't want aggressive is the wrong word, but they seem to want to fight you a little bit more than they did at the beginning of the season. Are you enjoying this extra challenge?
Yes, and no at the same time. A bit frustrating sometimes when they fighting, but I mean that's racing, So long as it's fair, clean, then it's fine. It's all good.
And obviously, you're leading the way in the championship. It would take a monumental effort for you to lose this championship, and that's not to put a jinx on you. But I mean, what's your hopes for the remainder of the season?
I'll try and win every race as I can, and just bring it home.
Fair enough. Canada is next up. Do you? Is it a track you like? Is it something you're gonna pull forward and take another victory? I know you're trying to win every race you can.
Canada's one of my, I'd say, it's not one of my worst tracks, but it's definitely one of the tracks I hate a lot. I really dislike the track, so yeah, we'll see next week.
Okie doke. Well, thank you ever so much, Otis, for putting on the show you did today. It's been great having you here. Ryan, anything to finalise with Otis?
No, just congratulations on another impressive victory.
Thank you.
All right then. I suppose we should round it out, Ryan. There's no one else in the waiting room, so it's just me and you. I've asked the man himself what his hopes for the season are, but what are your hopes for the remainder of the season and how it can pan out?
More stuff like that. Fighting Otis like that is much more entertaining for us and everybody else at home. Seeing someone actually put up a fight towards him showed that can be beatable. If you've got cars in between and you know how to place the car, you can definitely hold him back for a good few laps. And that's what I feel like some of these drivers now could probably look back on this race and see, oh, okay, maybe we can actually defend from this guy. He is beatable, but to an extent, you've got to be smart with the ERS, and that's what I feel that Otis managed to figure out in the end. And like he said to us at the end, waiting to go for the overcut, which worked out quite well for him in the end, and then getting past Cypher as well after his tyres had to warm up, obviously. But yeah, hopefully more of that kind of racing between them, Cypher and Otis, hard but fair racing. That's what I like to see, and that's what we got to see a lot of here tonight.
Well, the action isn't over in WOR. We have more races throughout the week for this race, for this season. And obviously it's Spa. You've got some incredible commentators tomorrow night for the Tier 2 and Tier 3 guys, and you know there's incredible commentators throughout. You've got likes of Jota, Steve, Callum, all incredible commentators going over the incredible races the drivers have produce here in WOR. But for myself and Ryan, thank you so much for watching. It's been an incredible night. I found it very entertaining from a racing point of view, and hopefully we'll get exactly the same sort of action next week at Canada.